1 to 11. I'm not going to go through the whole 11. I don't want the whole 11. I just want, if you're going to make any changes for Saturday from the team that started last Saturday. Now, obviously, the elements played a factor. Or are you saying, yeah, the weather wasn't great, but it wasn't great for both teams, Gov, and we still, when you looked at the end of the stats, you looked at how it played out, it wasn't a brilliant performance, so I'm going to make changes despite winning 5-0 the week before. Tux, are you making any changes? If so, who are you bringing in and why?
Well, we have to make one change at least, obviously, with Greaves. So Kipri's coming in for me, obviously.
That's a standard one, right? That's one that doesn't, I wasn't thinking of because I wasn't expecting there to be like a question between is it Kipri or Baggett. So Kipri, that's fine. Yeah, Greaves. But who, where's the real changes going to be? The forced changes?
I think I would personally go with, other than that, it's probably the same team, other than maybe Nunez coming in for Kayust.
Okay, so Nunez coming in for Kayust potentially, or you'd be tempted to go back with the same 10. Obviously, with Kipri.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still start McAtee. I'd still start Akpom, Philogene, Hurst, Atisawa. But obviously, I think really what I'm looking at is probably the two changes. One's forced, obviously, but I think maybe in the middle you could see a Nunez come in and start. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ben, are you making any changes? And if so, who and why?
Yeah, the centre back. It sort of does itself. But I would also bring in Nunez for
Kayust.
Kayust, yeah. Kayust is a funny one, isn't he? He's clearly talented. He's clearly great on the ball. But I as of yet, I don't see the love in. He's good, but he's not brilliant yet. He could be, but he's not. I don't know. People must just see more of him than I do. So I think Nunez, and I also think who's our where Hegley would be, whatever his name is, Swedish.
Hegley on the right hand side, McAteer. Remember the word town, all in caps, because we've partnered with Match Bingo to give you a deposit bonus. You can get 200% bonus, and while the deposit bonus is bonus cash, it can't be withdrawn, but the winnings can be. 200% bonus using the word town, all in caps. But remember, terms and conditions do apply. You must be 18 or over. Terms and conditions apply. Please, whatever you do, gamble responsibly. Over 18s only. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. Links to Match Bingo in the description, or scan the QR code on screen next to their logo to play now.
Yeah, I would make that change because I think we need something fresh. There's something a bit kind of confidence sapped about the team at the moment. And I think sometimes it just needs one little change like that. And also, who's in Akpom's position? So it's been a really long day. Who's in Akpom's position?
Schmodic.
Well, Schmodic's.
Yeah, so that's a change I'm making. Akpom so far for me, and maybe argue me the point. I think it's been fucking useless so far. In fact, for a lot of the games I've seen, I actually forgot he was still on the pitch. Now, fair enough, he's still kind of working his way back into fitness. But if you want results now, you need performances now. And if he's still working his way back into it, he shouldn't be in the team. For me, he's a bit of a Mr. Anonymous. But, there are people that don't disagree with that. So I'll bring Smodics in. I'll bring Egley, whatever his name is, in.
Yeah.
And I'll bring Nunez in because it's a different. And I think we've looked better once the subs have come on.
Yeah. No, I don't think many would disagree with you. And I think, thinking back to Alex Matthews' comment or comments for the paper that the chat was talking about in terms of, is the automatics now out or whatever it is he said. I think until you start playing better, you have to be realistic about where you are. And after the start of the season, based on how we've performed, other than one game where, let's be fair, everyone is currently beating that one team. Are they beating them 5-0? No. So that obviously has a lot of weight in terms of how the performance was. Yeah. But the performances haven't been that of a top 2 team yet. The points tell you that in the league table, but also the performances. And last Saturday goes a long way. Yes, the elements don't help. But teams that go on to win titles, finish in the top 2, they find ways to grind something out. Now, obviously, we will never know whether Town may have got something out of that game in the end. But it wasn't looking likely, even at 80 minutes, 79 minutes, 78 minutes, whatever it was. And even at 11v11, it wasn't ever looking like it was going to be our day. It needed changes to really get things going, and the red card happened before that. I expect Portsmouth to play a low block. I expect them to come and frustrate and sit in and say, try and beat us and try and play through us.
You know it.
So I think both of you are right in terms of Nunez for Kayust. I think his ability to pick a pass and thread that ball is going to be key this weekend. And McAteer's an interesting one. We had a voicemail left for Sunday's show talking about McAteer. We had a comment, which I didn't
heard that.
I didn't bring up
with that.
for the Wilderness, but it was about McAteer. It was basically on the lines of just, believe in him and he'll turn into a 25-goal season player, which I'm not quite sure I buy into, 25 goals. I think the host may have been a little bit over the top sarcastic there, but I've not quite seen enough from McAteer, Tux, to say, yeah, here's your third or certainly second consecutive start in a row.
Well, I haven't either, but I mean, at the same time, like, I don't know if throwing Agueli in is the answer. This is still a young lad that's come from a different league, different country, even. And yes, he's performed well. That's why we've signed him. But the point being is that I think I said it on the last show, where I feel like he's going to follow a similar path to Amari when he first started here, where he wasn't starting a lot of games. He was ultimately coming off the bench, affecting games from there, and then scored and got his start from there. So I think McKenna's probably going to repeat the same sort of process, I think, for Agueli. And I think just to throw a kid in there, because he is a kid, let's face it, right? I don't know if that's really the answer, and he doesn't know the league yet, and the performance he put in against Sheffield United did okay, didn't pull up any trees. But again, that's his first appearance for us, essentially. So I don't know if throwing somebody in of that age is just going to solve that right-hand side option. Whereas someone like McAteer, and let's not forget he's a new signing as well, and he's a player that's come in and he's looking to, stake a claim to stay in the team further. So I think we need to give these players a chance, and like chopping and changing it all the time isn't really always going to solve the issue, I suppose.
No, Ben, your thoughts on that?
What is the issue, do you feel, though?
Well, I think the issue is consistency and how we play. I think too many times we started slowly. We've not been good enough in the key areas. And I'm thinking back to what Tuck said there about Amari, and he's right to an extent. But equally, when Amari arrived on loan, I think he played probably one game for Chelsea. Egley arrives having played, 40.
Amari got good because we played him.
Well, but
and
in
the early days, there was pushback against that because they're saying we can't keep starting someone who's still a rough diamond. I remember the pushback, but we played him. We played to his ceiling, and he reached his ceiling with us anyway. I mean, that's what he's doing now.
But he equally arrived. This was his first senior real loan, with game time attached to it. This is not the same for Egley, who has played, nearly 50 times for the club he's just arrived from. So he's a little bit, not massively. I could probably agree with you, but he's a little bit further along in the development of a young player. He's 19. He's not 17. He's not, coming out of the academy and finding himself moving on for a big fee. So I think if not at home to Portsmouth, and that's no disrespect to Portsmouth, but if not at home in a home game, when do you start to think about potentially starting him? If that's the case, would you? I imagine you wouldn't be starting him against Norwich with that train of thought of a young player. So that's then, is it Bristol City? That's away, okay.
Well, is it not more about you first of all got to put the performance in off the bench, to warrant a start, right? And for me currently, he hasn't done that yet. Okay. And that's not his fault. That is more about that. Like I say, he's coming into a new country, a new league, and he is 19. He's not a child, but he's still young, and he's still learning the way of the Championship. Still learning how McKenna wants to play. A lot of these players are, quite frankly.
Oh yeah,
but, it's and McAteer is probably in that same boat in the sense that he's learning how McKenna wants to play. But again, this goes back to a new team, new players and stuff like that. And yes, that excuse will run its course at some stage in the next couple of weeks, I would have thought. But it's still a factor, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, Joe says we need arrogance and go out and attack a game, be ruthless. Cole would be against Egley in the 10, to be honest. Obviously, go back to Akpom and Smolik you were talking about earlier. Cole suggests maybe playing Egley in the 10. Before we move on, neither of you made the change up front. George Hurst.
I was thinking of that. I was thinking if you might come in with that, because I know we've spoken a bit in the week, Gov, about
we have.
What is what is going on with Hurst a little bit. And you can argue, yes, Núñez might be a great fit for Hurst because of those. Hurst is great on a threaded through ball, something he can get on the end with. And Cajuste, for all of his talents, is not that kind of a midfielder.
No, he
sprays it out to the side and to the kind of front wings. But is it the fact that Hurst has not had the service that he usually has? But I'm also going to say that out of play, when the ball is up, he's not holding up play like he used to. He's not running like he used to. He's not stopping dead on the dime like he used to. It's almost like he's carrying not an injury, but a vulnerability somewhere that he wants to protect. I'm not. What do you guys think?
Chucks, how have you seen Hurst's opening start of the season?
I think he gets a lot of flack, and I think it's probably because he is one of the remaining players from kind of yesteryear, I suppose. But
it's fair.
He's another one who's having to gel with players at the moment, and I think he's used to a Chaplin being quite close to him.
Yeah,
Akpom was a completely different 10 in that sense. He's more of a striker in my opinion, but
yeah,
you're almost playing two up top at times with Akpom, but he does come deep. Yeah. So, I suppose with Szymodics, like he has played with Szymodics before, so he should sort of know a little bit more about his game. But both of them have been injured for long periods of time last season, so have they really played all that much together? But Akpom and Szymodics are completely different sorts of tens, and even the wide players. Hurst used to gel quite well with Broadhead. Broadhead is a completely different type of player to what Philogene is. Philogene uses his pace, where Broadhead was more about the sort of cutting edge pass and his movement. It's the same on the right side. Obviously with Burns, we know what Burns could do, but McAteer is a completely different player. Again, he's a completely different player. So, there's got to be some give there, I think. And I think perhaps Hurst probably didn't help himself after the first game of the season where he scored his goal and he's like, that's what I do. And actually,
that's my bread and butter.
He hasn't done a great deal of
what. Come on, just shut up and get on with your job. No, don't set yourself up like that, man.
The thing is, is it a case if you've been spoilt for 12 months with the lap, and it's because you've been spoilt with a young player that's going to go to the very top of the game, and you've watched and you've almost been so spoilt, and that's come back down to the player that was there before, and you're thinking, oh, is that how he always did things, and is that how we always performed, or etc., or is it genuinely a case? And I don't know. We've been weighing up all week, haven't we? Me and you, Ben. We've been talking about it, and for me, 18 months ago, I used to call George Hurst Velcro Man because everything would stick to him. Everything would stick like Velcro to George Hurst.
It was his superpower.
I just haven't quite seen that in the first couple of games.
But arguably, I wouldn't say that he always gets the service that he requires.
No, but is he holding the ball up well enough to bring us all up with it? That's the question.
But does he get the ball to hold it up in the first place? Like you think about someone like Philogene, right? I'm not always his biggest fan. Obviously, played very well against Sheffield United, but is he the type of player that's going to put it on George Hurst's head? Is he the type of player that's going to roll it into George Hurst? Probably not, because he wants to take on the player. So again, it's different sort of players playing a different type of way. But ultimately, they're all going to have to play Kieran McKenna's way of playing, which actually probably accommodates around George Hurst.
It has traditionally, yeah, absolutely. It might be a case of Azon is very similar to having a, it's new. Well, not very similar. It is a new player, and when you get new players, you want to see them play because you want to see what sort of new player you've got. And the same could be said a little bit for Egley. We've seen a little bit of McAteer. Now we're like, oh, let's see what Egley's got about him. Let's see what we've got in this new player. So it could be, that little bit of it. You look at it and going, oh, yeah, but what's what Aslan plays like?
The thing I would say, Gov, is last week we was on the show. We was talking about the best strikers in this league according to
just won 5-0 to be fair, but go.
Yeah, but according to that article, right? And
yeah, he's 11th.
He was 11th, and I'll still stand by that he should be at least in the top 5. But it's almost like it's only a week since that conversation, and people are putting George Hurst, 20th now in that list. Do you see what I mean? It's just so fickle how. One game can change the opinion of a football fan and his own set of fans. But ultimately, if you believe in him, and Kieran McKenna will, like, he's not going to change him now. He's, unless he gets an injury or a real loss of form, and it won't be, I don't think, before the Norwich game.
Yeah, that's fair. Dominic Dean has gifted 5 Talking Town memberships. Thank you so much, Dominic. We appreciate it. That's 5 lucky people who have now become a member of Talking Town. You can get access to the Discord as a perk. You can get the member-only videos that we do, one coming out on Friday. We've got some comments coming in regards to this conversation before we move it on. ITFC Beard, is hers getting the flap because no one is scoring? So him being the striker just emphasises it. I think it always in general, when you're not playing well, the striker is the first. Striker and goalkeeper generally the first 2 players to get the brunt, because if you're not playing well, you're not generally winning games. And if you're losing them, is it the goalie's fault? Is it a mistake? Was it a bad pass? If it's a striker's fault? So generally, I think we're not playing well. And we aren't playing well. We've had one game where you can say, wow, that's Ipswich we know and love. That's the one we were accustomed to. But the remainder of the games have been, I thought we'd be so much better than this in this division. I thought we'd be in all those different things.
Some of it, and that's right, it's about getting to know each other, but I think some of it is just as you say, teams coming up and low blocking the shit out of us. When we came into the Championship last year, we were completely unknown, and teams would come and play at us thinking we're a League One team, and by the time they figured out that, oh no, we have to park the bus, we had momentum which broke through that. Teams are coming to play dirty and ugly and all the gamesmanship, and teams know that's how they beat us. They know that. And this is a critique of McKenna. I love McKenna, but this is a critique of McKenna. Every manager for the next 39 games knows what our formation is going to be. They know that we're going to do our 60-minute triple subs, because it happens every single game. So every single manager from now until May knows how to plan against us, because we never do more than one thing. So if you come and know what our plan is, when we're going to bring our subs on, you just come and low block the shit out of us, because we can't play against it yet. We just can't, and it's really effective. Look at Brady Preston. They knew that, and they set up for it, and it was ugly and filthy. That's how you beat us, because we are a known quantity now, and it's the thing we didn't have against us when we the last time in the Championship.
I'm laughing because both of you gave me such glowing confidence ratings in the gut meter test. But yet, the more I talked, the more my number is going further and further down. It's like every time both of you talk to me about a different point, I go from I started at maybe an 8, then I was a 7. But now look, I'm a 6. Isn't that now I'm thinking, what's the point of carrying on?
But that's reflecting the games we're having. Sometimes we're a 9. Sometimes we're a 4. Sometimes we're a 6. Sometimes we're a 7, and then we go to a 4 in the same game. We're kind of playing how you experience it, as you think, well, how are we going to be? No one really knows how good or bad it's going to be this season yet. It's just, there's nothing you can grab hold of, because it used to be, give me 10 games, I'll tell you what the season's going to be. I think it's going to be longer than that.
It's so early on in the season, and I've got to be honest, I think I've only ever looked at the table twice since the start of the season, and that to me shows that I'm really not bothered about what the table is saying at the moment. And I know
you're telling me I shouldn't cancel the shows, and the season's not been cancelled.
Well, all I'm saying is don't read too much into the table at the moment. You know, and I know a lot of people say the table doesn't lie, and yes, it doesn't lie.
It doesn't 5 games in, Tux.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, there's still so much football to play, and I just don't buy the, you know, we haven't got a chance of automatic promotions. Based on what? What are we basing that on?
You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free, and hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.